Teaching a nose hold. Here we're teaching Buffy a nose hold from scratch. She does already know this behaviour, but we're starting from the beginning, so what I'm doing is putting my hand out and luring her towards it. I want to make sure that I'm not putting my hand over her face without her consent. I want her to come towards me and not me come towards her. I'm then using a treat to lure her into my hand so that the top of her nose rests into my hand. The moment that I'm marking her is when the top of her nose touches the inside of my palm. This behaviour is really useful for teeth cleaning because it means that I can look at her teeth when I need to, but this is also really useful behaviour when you go to the vet. Vets will pretty much always want to look at your dog's teeth just to check that they are healthy and clean, and this just takes the stress out of the situation because you can get your dog to do it for them rather than them grabbing your dog's face and them doing it. It also means that you can do it with consent, so rather than anyone grabbing your dog's face and pulling their lips up, you can ask them to put their face into your hand and then pull them up with consent. Now we're going to try and get some duration, so what I'm doing there is luring her nose into my hand and then withholding the treat just for a second so that she has to stay there and look at the treat, and then she gets her marker and her reward. Now that we've got a bit of duration on the behaviour, we're going to try and phase out the lure. So what I'm doing is presenting my hand and seeing if she knows to put her nose up into my palm. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. So you can see here, I present my palm, she's not quite sure. So the next one, I'm going to help her out by luring her again. So we're just going to go back to when it was a bit easier. Trying to keep the lure as subtle as possible. I don't want her to rely on that treat always being in front of her nose. And in these ones here, I'm pretending to have a treat in my hand. She will get her treat at the end, but I'm just using my other hand as a lure so that she has something to follow, even though there's actually no treat in there. That's a nice way to phase out the treat lure. Okay, now we're going to start introducing her lips coming up so that I can see her teeth. So what I'm doing is luring her through and gently, with just my fingers on the tip of her lip, just lifting it up very, very slightly. Eventually, I'll lift it up much higher and higher, so you can see there we go a bit more. And again, she's used to this, so I wouldn't go at this speed if your dog has never done this before, but she's done this before. It might take a little while to get through this phase because it is quite a strange sensation for them. And then we want to get to the point that we can start lifting up her lips and holding them up just for a little second at a time. Gradually building that duration so we can do it for longer and longer. Just so, for example, when we do start cleaning her teeth or the vet wants to see her teeth, we can show them those teeth for longer than 1 second. As she's doing really well at this, she's doing it reliably, I'm now adding in a verbal cue. I'm using the word nose. You don't necessarily have to add a verbal cue for this behaviour because it does have a visual cue, which is your hand going up like that. But I like to add in verbal cues as kind of like a warning as to what's about to happen to them, just so they have more information about what it is that I'm asking and what to expect. Well done.